Hello, Nolan Livingston here with WCIV News. Today we have a very special broadcast presentation about the Industrial Revolution. In the late 18th century and the early 19th century, many changes occurred in agriculture, manufacturing, transportation, economics, and social structure in England. This period is known as the Industrial Revolution. An example of agriculture advancement would be the development of crop rotation. Crop rotation is the alternating growth of different types of crops in the same area. Changing from one type of crop to another allows the soil to maintain its fertility, which resulted in higher crop yields. Higher crop yields meant more food for more people. This made it possible for towns to grow and support larger populations. Crop rotation was a big development in farming, but what else helped the crop rotation was the seed drill. Now, how the seed drill worked is that a seed was planted every 12 inches. So because they were so far spaced out, there was no competition for sun, nutrients, or water. So plants were able to grow at their own pace and as fast and or as slow they could without having competition from other plants. Manufacturing changed from a putting out system to a factory system. The putting out system relied on various individuals from different areas who specialized in certain processes to provide unique products. Machines replaced these individuals in the production of unique products. The factory system utilized division labor. Even though machines replaced certain jobs, the system still needed people to fix the machines in the factory, run the factories in the machine, and people to move materials around in the factory. These different type of workers are known as skilled laborers, low skilled laborers, and unskilled laborers. An example of how the factory system changed textile manufacturing came in the form of new techniques such as hydropower, spinning jennies, and looms. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, the most common method for transporting goods was by water. Canals were used to connect resources. This method of transportation was not able to handle the growth in manufacturing, so a better method was needed. To fill this increased manufacturing capacity, railroads and turnpikes became preferred methods for transporting goods and resources. This was made possible in part due to the invention and later refinement of the steam engine. There were three major ways to transport goods. Usually these goods would end up in a port city. One of the first ways to transport something is by railroad. You can load up a train with your goods and meet that train in the port city and go sell your goods. The second way to transport is just use the public roads. These roads were very densely populated. It could take you to a whole day just to get to a port city. While on the other hand, there was turnpikes. Turnpikes were private roads owned by a single person. To use these private roads, you needed to pay that person a certain amount of money. Using a turnpike could get you where you needed to be in a matter of hours because the roads were so less populated. All these new developments in agriculture, manufacturing, and transportation led to the growth in the economy. Business owners were employing more people and selling more goods. Without any formal banks or widely available currency, paying their employees became a problem. Some business owners staggered the days they would pay the workforce. Others would pay them with housing and other necessities. Country banks were created to solve the problem. These banks were sometimes owned by the same people who owned the local businesses. Workers could now be paid on a regular basis and afford to purchase more for their family, which meant other businesses saw improved sales. These business owners made up the middle class, which developed significantly from this economic expansion. The social structure was affected by all the advancements of the Industrial Revolution. Prior to the Revolution, people lived in small towns and rural communities, working as skilled laborers or in agriculture. As towns grew around the newly formed factories, the individual laborers and farmers became factory workers. The people who previously lived in the countryside moved to the cities as the need for additional workers increased. The city population grew tremendously and more housing was needed. Additional stores were needed to supply groceries for the increased population. Eventually, social classes began to develop. The lower class of workers still continued to struggle while the middle class saw increased wealth. Initially, this difference in social structure was difficult for the lower class that worked long hours and lived in slum conditions. Over time, the living conditions improved and labor laws restricted the abuse of the hourly employee. In summary, the industrialization of Europe left a permanent mark on society. Life changed drastically, classes shifted, and wealth increased. Industrial change eventually spread to the United States and had the same effects. The way we live our lives today is directly related to the Industrial Revolution.